It's not just education that conservatives have had to claw back to getting. It's the entire culture war, right? Like, we have been fighting to win back the culture war, but the fight obviously isn't close to being over. And, it goes so far beyond not being afraid to use our voices to fight for our beliefs. We have to reclaim all of these things. We have to reclaim our territory. If we want our thoughts to be mainstream again, we have to reclaim the arts, pop culture, media. And so with that being said, I'd like to introduce my next guest, who is a true American patriot, Dan Fluitt. He is a film producer, writer, and photographer, has been fighting this fight for years. By the way, Dan, welcome. You're brilliant, kind of an overachiever, I would just say. Film producer, writer, photographer, good at everything. You currently run Warroom Films, the film production and distribution arm of Steve Bannon's Warroom. I want to ask you, well, first of all, welcome. But I want to ask you, how much progress do you feel like the right has been making to break into, this kind of pop culture, really taking culture back?
So yeah, great question. Well, I think we see the results of that and some really actually awesome progress since Donald Trump's been elected. First of all, you see the prize jewel of the cultural elite in D.C. being taken over by Ambassador Rick Grenell and Donald Trump at the Kennedy Center, the Trump Kennedy Center now. It's really heartening to see. One of the things that we also see with that Kennedy Center is all the commies and the lefties and the quote unquote artists who are disengaging from there now and really opening up a big opportunity for more classical artists or more less ideological artists to support it. So I mean, they just keep backing out in droves. They cancel and kind of proving that they're really just very thin-skinned and aren't there for the art as much as they're there for the validation of their lefty comrades. So that's really great to see. We also see at the if your audience is familiar with Venice Biennale, which is compared to the Super Bowl of the art world that happens every 2 years in Venice, Italy, is now being represented by Donald Trump's pick. He's a sculptor who actually lives in Mexico, was born in Utah. And again, you see the backlash from him or towards him with his representation. So he's picked as, the premier artist for America to represent America at the Venice Biennale, which is a worldwide organization. And his representation dropped him because he accepted the award to go there. It's actually amazing, but again, it opens up a lot of territory for right-leaning artists, whether that be sculptors, artists, painters, musicians, filmmakers, photographers, you name it, whatever. It's all wide open. So we are seeing quite a bit of entree into those classically leftist organizations. And it's really heartening to see. We just need to keep going.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I don't know if you saw, did you catch the new Angel Studios animated movie, David?
I haven't seen it yet, but I plan to see it.
You have to see it.
I've heard great things about it.
Yeah, it is incredible. It is. I mean, the animation is great. By the way, full disclosure, I know the people who run the production company that partnered with Angel. I'm very good friends with them, very close with them, and I was so happy that they did this. I mean, in my opinion, I can't wait to hear yours whenever you see it. It really stacks up with and is better than anything that Disney or Pixar puts out. The soundtrack is amazing. My 5-year-old son listens to it every day, and I'm like, I love this so much. It's music that I want him listening to. It's all, it's Christian. Obviously, it's about David from the Bible, and I'm thinking, is it getting cheaper for people anyone to do this? Is it only available to people with the money to be able to do it? Like, how is this happening, and how do we get more of it?
Okay, so when you're talking about a big giant studio production like that, yes,
Yeah.
it does matter.
You have to have the money.
You do need to have the money or the support or somehow like a funder or something to be able to do that, because the reality is it just costs money to do these things. However, there are a lot of ways to create content that doesn't have to be at that level. And there are people doing it all the time. And I encourage anybody that's listening in your audience, if you feel any kind of pull towards doing things like that, that you should do it. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We need more of that out in our culture. And if you affect 10 people, that's 10 people that you've affected. It's a force multiplier. And if 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people are affecting 10 people, that matters. And so, I always try to encourage people to do more and to get their voices out, and never ever think that, there's no audience for you or that it doesn't matter. It does matter. Yeah. And our culture desperately needs to get away from, the leftist indoctrination stuff like your last guest was talking about at schools. It happens in schools, but it happens in an even greater degree in the culture.
Yeah.
And I love what Angel Studio's doing. One of my favorite films for the last few years was one that wasn't as well recognized as The Sound of Freedom, but it was Cabrini, which I thought was such a great movie, so beautifully shot and so well told. And I absolutely love the work that they're doing. And I'm not going to really be happy until the major Hollywood studios start recognizing that there is an audience for this, which they already, quite frankly, know. Yeah. But they're so beholden to the DEIs and the political correctness, and they've sort of like institutionally captured those institutions as well. We need to stop that. We need to break it. And I do think there's signs that it is like the whole DEI component is like fracturing in Hollywood, which I think is wonderful. And in fact, I went to see a movie, Marty Supreme, over the weekend, and I'm hesitant to say, but I think maybe it's starting to be safe to go to theaters again, because there wasn't any of the DEI in there, and you could actually watch a movie and talk about it on the merits of being a film. Right. And it's been such a long time since you can do that. Yeah. I really encourage people to see that, to support not things that just are ideologically aligned to the things that they believe and feel, but just even neutral things, or even just good filmmaking. I think it's really important to show the studios that if they put that kind of content out, that people will support it, and they won't be losing money on these disasters like like Disney keeps putting out. It's just nonstop lunacy. So I'm on a bit of a war myself to do anything I can do to make that happen.
Well, to that point, you did just release a really great documentary earlier this month called The Sleeping Giant, on the January 6th saga and all of the misinformation. I think we have time to play a clip of that. Let's watch.
Oh, great.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th. This is not the story you were shown.
I take responsibility.
This is the story they lived.
Government entrapment scheme that this actually was.
The J6 Patriots are no longer staying silent. They are speaking. They are standing. And they are telling the truth.
I would encourage everyone to go watch the full documentary on the Real America's Voice app. But you said, you know what? These people deserve to tell the truth and to tell the real story.
Yeah, and I know we're running out of time here, so I'll be quick. But the beauty of that film is not in that it's a kind of retelling or a more sane telling of what actually happened on January 6th, but about the challenges that those people who were in prison, often without trial and having their constitutional rights stripped, how they found a sort of like brotherhood in singing the national anthem, while they were in prison. And so really the back half of that story is about how they all came together and created an album. Now, this is the power of what I'm talking about in your audience and other audiences. That song that they released from that album went to #1. That's a #1 in the nation. Over Christmas, it was going toe-to-toe with Mariah Carey.
That's amazing.
So this like tiny audience was able to affect such a huge change.
That's awesome.
And make Billboard take notice.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Dan Fluitt.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.